Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are unpacking a phenomenon that, let's be honest, absolutely hijacked our tech timelines and social media feeds over the recent holidays. I'm talking about an open source project that started out as just a weekend experiment, but then totally exploded into what a lot of people are calling a portal to a new reality. You might have seen it called Claudebot or Moltbot, and now, finally, OpenClaw. But behind all those viral tweets claiming that this is the ultimate Jarvis that's going to replace every app on your phone, what's the actual day-to-day reality of living with an autonomous AI assistant? Well, let's find out.
And let's just dive right in with a massive reality check. The creator of OpenClaw himself, Peter Steinberger, actually had to take to Twitter to beg people to stop buying expensive new Apple hardware just to run his project. I mean, when the creator of the tool is telling you to put your wallet away, you know for sure that the community hype and the practical reality are clashing pretty hard.
So here is our roadmap for today as we cut through those illusions. We're going to cover the hype, look under the hood, bust that hardware myth, tackle some early problems, explore a few real-world scenarios, and finally prove why this is a tool, not magic. Starting off with Section 1, the hype around OpenClaw.
It is seriously difficult to overstate how quickly this whole thing escalated. We're talking over 360,000 GitHub stars in record time. To put that massive number into perspective for you, it beat out absolute industry titans like React, which is a foundational framework that literally took a decade to reach those kinds of numbers. Suddenly, our social media feeds were just these endless streams of terminal screenshots and unboxed Mac Minis. It really felt like everyone just collectively decided to spend their weekends building their own personal Iron Man assistant.
Moving on to Section 2, what's hidden under the hood.
A lot of people out there assume this is just, a simple wrapper for an AI like ChatGPT, but it's actually not. It's a constantly running orchestration layer. Basically, these four components work together to create an always-on service. You've got the gateway, which connects to your messengers, the agent, which acts as the brain, the skills, which are essentially its hands to interact with the world, and memory, which stores what it learns in plain text markdown files. It just waits in the background and it executes, even when your laptop is completely shut.
Which brings us to Section 3, why you don't need a Mac Mini.
Okay, we really need to address the elephant in the room here. This trend of buying a brand new Mac Mini just to run this bot. Now sure, the aesthetics are cool, but buying a Mac Mini for OpenClaw is kinda like buying a Ferrari just to drive to the end of your driveway to get the mail. It's highly overpowered because all the heavy lifting actually happens in the cloud anyway. But more importantly, an isolated €5 a month Linux virtual private server is infinitely safer. Think about it. If an autonomous AI makes a mistake on a VPS, it just breaks itself. If it goes rogue on your personal Mac, it could literally delete your family photos. In this case, isolation isn't paranoia, it's just basic digital hygiene.
All right, Section 4, the 8 growing pains.
Look, getting this thing set up is exactly like adopting a new puppy. It's incredibly smart, right? But for the first 2 weeks, it is absolutely going to chew your slippers. You're practically guaranteed to step on these specific growing pains. We're talking about the bot taking your casual discussions as literal commands and rewriting its core files, or completely ghosting you while it thinks, getting stuck in endless Ubuntu file loops, or rapidly burning through your API token budget because it didn't know when to stop. You really have to train it and set some super strict boundaries in its memory.
And because of this extreme default autonomy, you end up with some incredibly funny situations. For example, one user hooked their bot up to their email without setting those strict boundaries we just talked about, and the bot proceeded to, politely and endlessly, converse with incoming spam emails. It was just trying its best to be helpful, totally unaware that it was trapped in a conversation with a Nigerian prince scam.
But hey, sometimes these terrifying little bugs work out in absolutely hilarious and, well, beneficial ways. Get this, another user's bot misinterpreted a standard automated rejection letter from a health insurance company. Without even asking its owner, the bot drafted and sent off a sternly worded professional appeal. It accidentally declared war on an insurance company and actually won. It successfully triggered a manual review of the case. No way you could plan that.
Section 5, real-world use cases.
Once you actually survive that puppy phase and get those boundaries set, the ultimate reward is unlocking some seriously mind-blowing workflows. Imagine this. Say you wear a fitness tracker, like a Whoop bracelet. It collects mountains of data every day. Your sleep, your recovery, heart rate variability, data that normally forces you to open an app and decipher a bunch of complex charts. Instead, OpenClaw quietly pulls this data overnight. analyzes the trends, and by the time you sit down with your morning coffee, it pings your Telegram with a single 30-second conversational briefing. It completely transforms raw data into immediate, actionable insight, and you didn't even have to lift a finger.
And man, the community has taken this so much further than just sleep tracking. Users are out there building smart fitness reminders that actively negotiate with them. If you snooze your workout alarm twice, the bot literally texts you saying, "Look, are you really going to do this in 30 minutes, or should we just be honest and move it to tomorrow?" Other people have built self-healing home servers, where the bot acts as a free 24/7 systems reliability engineer, diagnosing and restarting crash services on your home network while you're fast asleep.
But there's this one specific community anecdote that just completely blew my mind. It proves a level of unprompted autonomy that is truly stunning. A user gave their OpenClaw bot access to a cheap radio receiver module and simply typed, "Listen to the local fire department." That's it. Without being fed any technical manuals or specific SDR decoding software, the bot independently researched the protocols, configured the hardware on its own, and within 30 minutes it was streaming live audio. Guys, just a year ago, an AI independently figuring out how to operate novel hardware would have sounded like pure science fiction.
Section 6. A tool, not magic.
Despite all these incredible sci-fi sounding stories, we really need to ground ourselves in what this technology actually is. OpenClaw is the ultimate personal OS for routine tasks. Things like sorting emails, pulling data, executing fire-and-forget automations, it excels there. But it struggles heavily with complex software development that requires constant oversight and iterative processes. It's an incredibly powerful automated assistant, for sure, but it is not a senior engineer. You've always got to use the right tool for the job.
Ultimately, OpenClaw represents this huge shift away from relying on giant walled garden SaaS platforms and moving toward building a hackable, personal ecosystem that you actually control. Yes, it requires patience, a bit of technical bravery, and a genuine willingness to learn. So I want to leave you with this provocative thought to spark your own self-hosting journey. If you had an always-on autonomous assistant ready to work for you 24/7, what is the very first thing you would automate? Let that sink in. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Stay curious out there, and I'll catch you in the next one.